Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode. It is a beautiful day, and I'm driving along the Nairobi Nakuru Highway. I'm sure you have seen the title. Well, today I want to take you to one of the most beautiful missionary villages, that is Kijabe. I'll be getting there in a few, but I want to show you something real quick from up here. I'm sure you can see there's something like a stage right in front. Let me just park and walk up there. Actually, I want to show you the beautiful town of Kijabe from up here, right before we get down there. Well, down there is the Great Rift Valley, and on my extreme left, that is the Kikuyu escarpment. There is a beautiful town down there called Maimahio, but I want you to focus on my extreme right. I don't know whether you can see something shining down there. Well, that is Kijabe Mission Center. Just a small community next to big mountains. Well, there is also a nice village down here, quite beautiful. Let me share an old photo of the same village and tell me what you think. Taken in the 1950s, you can see how the place has transformed. I'm sure very few old-timers were around that time. Anyway, I have tens of such pictures, then versus now. I'll be sharing them right here, so stay tuned until we hit the beautiful town of Kijabe. I'm back to the road, and I'll be exiting the highway in the next few seconds. The exit to Kijabe is right in front, on my left. And I want you to take a good look of this place, as I have an old photo of the same place, probably in the 80s or early 90s. You can see the cypress forest was very young. Good old days. Well, this is the beautiful town of Gichiengo. Some people confuse it with Kijabe, but actually Kijabe is about 4 kilometers from here, downhill. But Gichiengo is just a small laid-back town of 1,995 people. The town is commonly known for its roasted maize. 51.2% of the population in the small town are females, while males make up 48.8%. There is nothing much about the small old town. Today we are very focused on Kijabe. It's a very interesting town, found in 1903 by an American missionary. The town is quite popular for its strict rules and traditions. I'll be telling you more about them in a few. Well, what on earth is this guy riding while upstanding? Well, I just told you that there are some few strict rules that you have to observe if you are considering living or working in Kijabe. And one of them is stop smoking, don't buy or sell alcohol, and if you are a businessman, don't stock or sell some ungodly stuffs like condoms. I can see some of you have already started complaining. I'm sure someone is saying, "But Mr. Lone Traveler, some of these things are necessary to stop the spread of venereal diseases." Well, I feel you, brethren. I feel your pain, but you don't need such things here, because the fourth rule is it is illegal to entertain a man or a woman in your house if you're not married. So, in short, we get you sneaking a girl in your house at night. Trust me, we will eject you from our beautiful small town right away. Anyway, that are some of the few rules that have been existing in Kijabe for more than 100 years. I'll be telling you more about them and more rules. I'm sure some of you have already surrendered. They can never live here. We will also be visiting the old church established in 1903. I will also show you one of the best international schools in Africa, also established in the 1900s by a sitting US president back then. Yes, he was here. I'll be telling you more about that. We will also visit the Mission Hospital, probably one of the most popular in the country. And lastly, we will visit the small shopping center, the only town in Africa that does not have an entertainment joint, or you can't buy cigarettes. I have some interesting numbers about the small town. I will also be telling you more about the real estate, that is, if you want to buy or live in Kijabe, how to go about it. But in the meantime, let me take this opportunity to welcome you to our YouTube channel, Village to Town TV, a channel that is dedicated to continue showcasing beautiful villages, towns, and cities across the continent of Africa. We are overwhelmed by your continued love and support for our channel. In fact, we are growing in crazy numbers. Our core goal remains to visit every village and every town. Remember, here we say every village has a story. And so, if you are new here, feel at home. And if you have not yet subscribed, kindly consider doing so. It is absolutely free, but means the world to us. Now back to the video. And this is the famous Kijabe railway tunnel. Quite narrow. You have to wait for the oncoming traffic. Two vehicles cannot pass each other here. It is also a bit short. A bus cannot pass here. You will have to find an alternative route to Kijabe. Built in the early 1900s, it was part of the Luna Express railway line. I'm also told that Kijabe has a railway station, which was a privilege back then. I'm sure you have noted that the road is not that good. Quite unfortunate considering how important this place is. Anyway, I'm about to hit the small town of Kijabe in a few. So let's meet in the old church in a few seconds. Well, I'm right in the compound of the beautiful church. Trust me, today I'll be doing a lot of walking. I want to show you something real quick before I show you the church. You see this wooden structure right here? It is the oldest thing in this town. It was the first bell for the first church, erected in 1903, and I'm told it collapsed around 1957. That's almost 70 years ago. Where were you? And you can see the structure is still standing. In fact, you can see some metallic materials remains. Now this is the modern AIC church, and trust me, it is not so modern. Trust me, it is older than Kenya the country. The place is quite windy. I'm sure you can hear the sounds, but the environment is very serene. Trust me, it feels godly here. I can see something written in both Old Kikuyu and English. This building is dedicated to the glory of the Lord Jesus Christ, who is head over all things, the church, which is his body. 26th May 1957. Wow. Quite historic. That's some 68 years back. Well, the foundation stone for the first church was laid here in 1903 by an American missionary, Charles Herbert. I'll be telling you more about the guy later. There is some interesting history. The church was a little bit small by today's standards. In fact, it measured 20 by 40 feet. And for information, this is the African Inland Church, that is AIC. Quite popular in the country. especially in the Rift. In fact, I'm told it has produced 2 presidents. One is President Moi, and the other is the current. The place is a bit lonely. I must be the only one here. Well, there's a new building here. Let me take a closer look. It has some beautiful murals. You know, the place is quite old, so seeing a new building is something. It is an ablution block. In other words, it is a toilet. Opened only a few years ago. And according to the placard, it was opened by the area bishop and his lady. He goes by the name Manyara. I just read. Trust me, the church has some of the most beautiful lawns I have ever seen. Well, I'm told that this building was erected immediately the first church collapsed. It might look new, but trust me, it has seen better days. 1957 is not yesterday. History goes that one of the most challenging moments for the church came in 1920s, where the missionaries found themselves at a loggerheads with the Kikuyu Central Association supporters. These guys did not fancy the spread of Christianity, and so they warned their people not to associate with missionaries. And that's only when the number of church attendants dropped from 700 to 30, and the number of girls at the school dropped from 300 to 80. I just left the church compound. I'll be telling you more about the challenges of the 1920s because more chaos ensued. That is, as we drive around. Well, I hope you can see the gate right across. That is the Rift Valley Academy. And trust me, this is not your ordinary school. It was ranked second out of the top 100 best high schools in Africa. More than 70% of learners are whites. It is known around here as RVA, which are the initials for the Rift Valley Academy. Founded in 1906 by Charles Halbert, the founder of Kijabe Mission Center. Well, history goes that when Halbert first came here, that is in 1903, he felt the need to establish a school that will cater for his children and that of his fellow missionaries. And to do this, he invited one of his best friends, the then US President Theodore Roosevelt, that is in 1909, to come all the way and lay the foundation stone. It is said that the president left the White House for Kenya on August 4th, 1909, and he laid that first stone, which is in Kiambu building in the school. For information, I'm told that Kiambu is the original name of Kijabe. It's a Kikuyu name, and it means the hill of Cape Buffaloes. I'm sure they must have been roaming the area in their thousands. And in fact, until today, the beast remains the school's mascot. Enough with the school shenanigans. As you can see, I'm approaching Kijabe town. This is the local market. If you want to buy something, you have to get it here. I want to get right inside and see how businesses are faring here and how the local people lives. The town is quite small. I'm sure you have noted it is one-sided. It is also very old. It is as old as the missionary church. It is also highly controlled by the church. You won't come from anywhere and establish a business here. You must say who you are and where you are coming from. What do you intend to sell and what is your religious background? You also have to sign some papers because terms and conditions applies. You don't sell whatever you wish here. Trust me, trouble will come your way. And apparently, the church don't play when it comes to this. You will be ejected from the town before you know it. Well, I'm told there's a management committee which was established by the founding missionaries. And it is this management committee that all traders must sign a contract with, swearing that they will not sell alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, and condoms. There is also another rule that there is no one who is allowed to work on Sundays unless you are a doctor or a security guy. Otherwise, you will find yourself in trouble. In fact, any person who contravenes these conditions is banished from Kijabe for good. In fact, I saw an article by the Standard whose heading was "Where Residents Obey Strict Code Left by Missionaries 115 years ago," and it was written 6 years ago by one Amos Karidhi. You can go and check it out after this as it goes deeper on this issue. And one thing that really caught my attention in the article is that I learned that it is illegal for a male worker to entertain a female friend in his house. Also, female workers in the church and the hospital are not supposed to give birth before they have a church wedding. And so one of the biggest crimes you can commit here, it is for an unmarried couple to live together. It is both unacceptable and immoral. The article continued to say that to keep youngsters out of mischief, whenever a youngster announces that he has a wedding out of town, let's say in Murang'a or in Kisumu, an elder from the town will be dispatched to whatever part of the country the ceremony is taking place to ensure it is not a sham. In short, you will not just disappear from town for a few weeks and then come back with a lady, claiming he is your legally wedded woman and the only witness is you and a few of your drinking buddies. Brethren, that card won't work here. I'm quite sure very few old-timers will survive here. Many of you will be rotting in jail for seeking pleasure. I would really want to know your views about the strict discipline in Kijabe. Is it fair? Is it outdated? Is it genuine? Do we need to emulate this across the country? Will you also survive here? Of course, you know yourself. I want to show you something. I told you today we'll be doing a lot of walking. This is the famous Kijabe Boys High School. Not the main entrance though. I'll be showing you the main gate later in the video. It is on the other side of the town. Since the school is quite big, this is only the field. Sitting in a 50 acres of land, it is one of the biggest schools in the country in terms of size. You can also see Mount Longonot in the background. Established in 1924, it is a boys-only school. A super cold place. I'm sure some of you are asking, Mr. Lone Traveler, how do you know all about this? I once schooled here in the 1950s. Definitely, I'm an old-timer. But there's a question I want the old boys and the girls from the girls section to answer me. Remember, there's a girls-only boarding school in the vicinity, and it goes by the name Kijabe Girls High School. And my question is a strict regulation on alcohol and cigarettes really effective in the town? I know learners, especially boys, have a way of getting away with anything. And so I'm told, if you want to understand the town better, ask the youths. So write on the comment section down below. Tell us, what do you know? I don't kiss and tell. Definitely, I won't report you to the bishop. I'm just kidding. Just share your thoughts and we will appreciate. Well, let's quickly check out the numbers. And as you can see, Kijabe is just a small town of 2,026 people. It is mainly composed of students, teachers, traders, preachers, medical worker for a nearby hospital. Remember, I'll be taking you there. There is also a Bible college that goes by the name Moffat Bible College, quite historic. In terms of gender distribution, 878 are males, which is 43.3% of the total population, while females account for 1,146, which is 56.6% of the aggregate population. Definitely forming a majority, there is a 13.3% gap in favor of women. the biggest I've seen in this country. In terms of the intersex, there are only 2 in the town, and that is according to the Kenyan Bureau of Statistics. Well, I want to take you to the missionary hospital, which is quite popular in the country. It is only a few meters from here. There is also a post office right in front. Actually, it is on my right. This is the town's garage. It is just next to the post office. Remember, I also promised to show you the boys' school's main gate. It is right here, on the right side of the post office. I hope you can see it on my right. It's a modern one. Quite unfortunate we are facing the sun, but it's just for a moment. We'll be getting some nice shots in a few. I can also spot a young lad from the school right in front. He is carrying his luggage, probably with the help of his mama. Probably he's just got transferred, or he was expelled. Anything can happen in high school. Old-timers will tell you this. Trouble is always looking for someone. Anyway, I'll be hitting the hospital in a few seconds. But in the meantime, let me just share this old photo of old Kijabe village taken in the 1950s. You can see most houses are made of grass and mud. There is a house made of iron sheet. Probably it belongs to the area's chief. You had to be salaried to own such a house. Let me also share another picture of old Kijabe shopping center. It is down there. And this picture was probably taken in the 1920s. You can see the traders outside. And one shop is actually written the Kijabe Stores. I also have another one. I'm sure today the students of history will love me. Well, I'm told this one was taken in the 1800s. That's a caravan of black workers escorting a white. I don't want to use the name black slaves. And you can see Kijabe Hills right in the background. Probably they are transporting goods from the interior of Africa to the coast. Finally, the hospital is here. I want to get in and show you a little bit of it. This is Kijabe Mission Hospital, 100% under the church. I can spot doctors and nurses all over, probably the 5th generation. They've been walking down these streets for more than a century. In fact, this picture shows 4 nurses, 4 mothers, and 4 babies in the 1920s. Probably those babies are someone's great-great-grandfathers and grandmothers. I doubt they are even alive. Time flies. The hospital was established in 1906 by the town's founder, Mr. Halbert, and he had named the hospital Kijabe Theodora Hospital in Roosevelt's honor. I told you he was his friend. But that is not the name anymore. The hospital's official name is AIC Kijabe Mission. I told you President Roosevelt once visited the place, including the hospital. In fact, I have his picture while he was in the small town, right outside his camp, next to the train station. It seems today I came with a lot of receipts. This is the hospital's parking lot. It is full. You can tell how busy this hospital is. And that is the positive work of the missionaries. A classic case of establishing something that will help generations for 100 years to come. Well, I want to turn around so that I can show you the actual face of the hospital, the modern face, that is. We want to see whether more than 100 years later, the place has improved. I'm sure you have seen it. Now let me share an old photo of the old hospital where everything started and tell me what you think. Probably taken in the 1910s. You can see patients waiting outside. They all have a blanket around. I told you this place can be cold. Well, history goes that initially, Mr. Halbert, the founder of this town and hospital, was not interested in this area. He initially wanted to establish his mission along the shores of Lake Naivasha. In fact, in 1903, He had marked the land he wanted for his mission work, but since it was late afternoon, the colonial administrator in Naivasha could not sign the lease. And as usual, he was told to come the next day. Well, unknown to him, Lord Delamere was also in town, and he was not looking for anything else. He was looking for the same valuable commodity, land. History goes that later that night, after a couple of beers, the colonial administrator told Lord Delamere about the missionaries' interest in the area. Delamere thought that the land was so prime and could not be wasted on missionaries, and the colonial administrator agreed, and when Herbert arrived the next day, Lord Delamere had the lease of what is today the Soisambu farm. Anyway, to compensate for his interest, Herbert was asked to take up a spot in Kijabe area, 7,200 feet above sea level, and he was told it was malaria-free, was cool, and near the railway. And as they say, the rest is history. Anyway, let me leave it at that as I make my way out of the town. It has been a great one. Please continue watching the scenic video until the end. And the fact that you have watched this far, it means that you somehow likes what you are doing. So kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel, Village to Town TV, a channel that is dedicated to continue showcasing beautiful villages, towns, and cities across the continent. Also like the video so that it can be recommended to as many people as possible. And if you don't mind, smash the notification bell so that every time we post, you will be among the first few people to be notified. Also keep the conversation going. Tell us, what do you think about Kijabe? Will you consider living here? And if you come from this area or you have ever lived here, what else do you know about this town? Thank you. Mwema. Haya.
Asanteni sana.
Karibu.
Nimechukua pikipiki ikaishia mafuta hapo.
Unaenda wapi?
Naenda town.
Town gani?
Nairobi.
Tutakwenda huku juzi tutaenda na Naivasha.
Okay.
Sawa.
Asanteni.
Karibu. Maybe asigana dia wega. Dia wega.
Tupata hii wega mdown. Nyama. Siari.
Tiga romani.
Neguo. Ne bure no.
Kawa de mero kora hana muthuku mutari man.
Sasa.
No nyenderie bebe igana. Tiga
Bura ne yo hete thina lori iraumira kuria.